They thought they were digging up a savior to survive. They did not realize they were unearthing the monster that would consume their very souls. This is the tragic story of Jarl Bjorn's forgotten clan, a desperate people who prayed for a final saving miracle, and whose prayers were answered by a vengeful ancient goddess, a goddess who turned their meager souls into raw ammunition. The cold had been a cruel master to Bjorn's people. They lived at the world's outer edge beside eternal ice. They were stubborn, hard folk who honored the great Aesir. They bled into frozen soil to make their barley grow, and they had endured every hardship the cruel north could bring. But that winter, great Odin turned his blind eye away. The massive fjord froze solid, hiding the deep gray water. The dense woods fell silent. Not even crows flew. Hope was nothing more than a dying, cold gray ember. So when a massive mountain of ancient blue glacier ice broke free from the high peaks and drifted into their bay, they did not see danger. They saw a divine answer. And trapped within that primordial ice was a woman. She was flawless, preserved inside ice old as Ymir himself. She wore heavy armor that shimmered like the northern lights. Her long hair carried the pale color of winter frost. She was no queen from any known saga. She felt infinitely older, heavy with the weight of a prehistoric world. Jarl Bjorn, a fierce man who trusted only his iron axe, fell heavily to his knees in the cold, wet snow and declared her a gift sent by the All-Father himself, a sign their suffering had finally been seen. With the last of their weak and starving oxen, they dragged the frozen tomb into the great longhouse and placed it before the roaring sacred hearthfire, letting the heat slowly leap into the ancient blue ice. And as the final shards melted into the floorboards, the mysterious woman lay still upon a bed of dark furs. Listen closely to me now. Before the stunned eyes of the silent, terrified clan, she suddenly drew a breath, smelling of graves and open sea. Her awakening was not gentle. She opened dark, storm-filled eyes. She sat upright with the grace of starving wolves. She offered no relief, no gratitude. The sacred bindings of the Norns are broken now. Her voice sounded like grinding stones beneath the earth. How many winters have I slept within the ice? Her name was Skira. She brought no salvation. She brought a history no living skald had ever sung. She spoke of a dark age before Midgard was carved, a time when primeval frost kings and endless war. The Rimthrusar do not merely wish to rule kingdoms, she told them. They wish to return the world to frozen nothingness. You have heard the sagas sung by lesser Scots, have you not, my sweet children? They paint great Odin as a wise and noble protector. Skira's eyes narrowed. They lied, she said. The Allfather is a god of gallows, wolves, and sacrifice. The hearthfire cracked loudly. Several villagers recoiled, as though her words themselves carried ill luck. To win this ancient war, Odin demanded the slaughter of thousands of mortal clansmen, not for conquest, to fuel forbidden magic. And Skira refused him. And Odin does not forgive those who stay his hand. He could not kill her, for fate itself protected her threat, so he bound her within the primordial glacier ice. Her frozen body became the lock upon that terrible war. And our starving people had just turned the golden key. That very night, the howling Arctic wind returned with a fury. A young shepherd was found frozen mid-stride at dawn. His pale eyes remained wide with terror. Ice alone could never fully explain. The ancient war had found them. Jarl Bjorn's clan was no longer a forgotten people, hidden at the edge of the world. They had become the front-line shield wall against the end itself. They believed they had thawed a savior from the ice. They learned too late they had invited their doom. The first assault did not come with screaming war horns. It arrived instead as a slow, creeping physical numbness. The Rimthrusar were not an army of mortal flesh. They were the absence of life itself, the thick fog stealing breath from living lungs, the frozen stillness left behind when warmth abandons the world. Imagine a cold so absolute your iron sword passes through it like swinging at empty smoke. Our fiercest warriors fell instantly, not screaming, not bleeding, simply stopping. Their warm blood froze solid inside their own blue veins. Imagine watching your brother exhale into the freezing dark and seeing his breath freeze into sharp shards before he collapses. Only Skira could touch them. Her twin blades erupted, bright with pale and frozen fire. She tore through the encroaching darkness like a storm unleashed. But she was only one woman against an endless ocean. Jarl Bjorn was cornered by a towering, shadowed shape. He roared his final defiance to the halls of Valhalla and swung his iron axe with all his remaining strength. The dark shape touched his chest before the blade could land. The proud Jarl collapsed heavily. His life escaped his lips in a pale, visible mist. His people waited for Skira to call the holy runes, to summon the Valkyries, to guide their fallen Jarl toward Odin's golden hall. But Skira was no longer the Allfather's loyal servant. She knelt beside the dying man, and she committed an act that violated every law of the gods. She did not send his soul toward the heavens. She took it for herself. All of Bjorn's strength, his endurance, his stubborn, unyielding spirit erupted from his mouth as a torrent of blinding golden light. Skira drank every drop. Her armor blazed like the sun's with the screams of agony and stolen mortal power. She unleashed a massive wave of raw force into the storm, and the frost giants were driven back deep into the raging blizzard. Bjorn's body remained behind upon the frozen dirt floor, a hollow, brittle husk. The survivors did not cheer. The awe they once felt had curdled into horror. This was no savior sent to protect mortal lives. She was fighting her own endless war against the cosmos, and she had discovered a new source of fuel: our souls. Frost retreated, but the clan was trapped, caught between freezing death outside and a goddess within their walls, a goddess who would consume their spirits to burn brighter. No Valkyries would descend for them, no feasting beside ancestors. They would become nothing more than fuel for an endless war, fire at the edge of creation. There is an old saying among the Grand Weavers: be careful which fire you stoke when winter comes. Jarl Bjorn's clan prayed desperately for a miracle. Instead, they freed a ruthless general who needed an army, and their starving prayers may have doomed us all to be unwilling wood upon the fire. The long, bloody thread of Skira's war now spins freely, and one cannot help but wonder, what will happen when Odin looks down from Hillscaff and sees his most dangerous prisoner has escaped? If you wish to sit beside my hearth when that answer comes, press the subscribe token now. But for tonight, the fire burns low and the dark is watching.